From the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains in beautiful Colorado, it is Monday, October 5th, 2020, and this is Truly News. I am your host, Jason Van Sickle. I hope that you had a great weekend. As always, each day brings us a fresh start. The future is what we decide to make it, starting today. So, it is important to begin each day focused on the positive, a positive focus on ourselves, and a positive focus on those around us. To help, we start each podcast with positive philosophy, ideas for making life better. And here is your idea for the day. Improve your mental health by focusing on the good in your life. Try writing some things that you are grateful for on a piece of paper or type a note in your phone and carry that with you throughout the day. Whenever you're feeling tired, need a little boost, or even at random times, look at your list and remind yourself of those things that you are grateful for in life. Also, at the end of the list, write a note to yourself that simply says, I will try to be nice and kind to the people that I meet today. And that is your positive philosophy idea for this Monday. Remember, we can't control everything in life, but we can work on developing a positive mindset that is focused on improving ourselves and the world around us. Now, let's work on getting smarter and better informed by taking a look at what is happening in the world. In today's top headlines, the top headline for most news agencies continues to focus on President Trump's hospitalization after testing positive for COVID. The main focus today is the mixed messages that the medical staff gave over the weekend. Initial reports early in the weekend from the medical staff seemed to say that there was nothing to be concerned about, while other later updates seemed to imply that the president had actually been experiencing moments of concern with things like running a fever and needing a supplemental oxygen since he was admitted on Friday. The other news focus today is on the choice that President Trump made yesterday to leave the hospital briefly to drive around and wave at reporters and supporters. Some are calling that a show of strength, while others are saying that it was a poor choice for someone who should be isolating. In other headlines, from the Wall Street Journal, Texas political factions fight over voting rules. Just 10 days before polls are set to open in Texas, political factions are battling over when voting can begin in the state, what the ballot will look like, and where voters can drop off their ballots. Also from the Wall Street Journal, Wisconsin struggles to explain sudden COVID-19 spike. Returning college students were first suspected to be the cause of a surge in COVID-19, but health officials now are questioning what else might be driving the increase in cities and towns without a college campus. And from the Los Angeles Times, the California fire season has officially shattered previous records. To date, more than 4 million acres have burned. From USA Today, an article titled 5 Things You Need to Know This Monday. Number 1, President Trump's doctors say he could go home today. Number 2, Hurricane Delta, a new tropical depression, could make landfall along the Gulf Coast this week. Number 3, the Supreme Court begins its new term today. The court's term roughly follows a school year, so the court typically takes a break from late June or early July and then begins a new term for a year-long calendar of hearings on the first Monday of October. And number 4, Rochester mayor facing felony campaign charges. Mayor Lovely Warren of Rochester, New York, will be arraigned Monday on 2 felony campaign finance charges. And finally, the number 5 thing you need to know from USA Today. The Patriots' chief football game is tonight after being rescheduled yesterday due to positive COVID-19 tests. The game was originally postponed due to positive COVID-19 tests from both teams. However, after more tests with no new positives, the game has been rescheduled for tonight. This creates a rare double feature, with the Patriots and Chiefs game being broadcast by CBS at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by the regular Monday Night Football game between the Atlanta Falcons and Green Bay Packers, which will air on ESPN at 9 p.m. From National Public Radio, New York City to close businesses in parts of Brooklyn and Queens as virus takes hold again. Pending state approval, Mayor Bill de Blasio plans to close non-essential businesses and schools in 9 zip codes that have recently seen persistently higher rates of the coronavirus. And finally, in our look at the top headlines, here are the stories that are crossing the wire at Reuters News. According to a new poll, Biden leads by 10 points as a majority of Americans say Trump could have avoided coronavirus if he had taken the issue more seriously. Also, according to his campaign, Biden tests negative again for coronavirus on Sunday. And 9 U.S. states have recorded increases in COVID-19 cases over the last 7 days. Finally, Twitter users flood Proud Boys hashtag with gay pride images. And those are your top headlines for the day. To lighten the mood a little, it is now time for our top 5 joke countdown. As usual, bringing us the countdown is my friend Billy Cunningham. Billy is a comedian who goes by the stage name Potbelly. So, now I turn things over to Billy.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. Our jokes today come from Reader's Digest at rd.com. Some of the jokes ain't exactly like the ones on the site. I did a little flippity-flapjack with some of the words just to make them even funnier. Now, I can't promise funny, but like my mama told me before I went on stage at the Love Handles Pork Chop Buffet and Comedy Club, she said, Billy, if you can't be good looking, at least try to be funny. Wait a minute, mama. What? Anyway, remembering mama's wise words, I bring you the top 5 countdown. And our category today is dog jokes. Oh, baby. Here we go. Our number 5 joke in today's countdown. Why do dogs bury bones in the ground? Answer, because you can't bury them in the trees. Don't make no sense. They mean hide them in the trees? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Number 4. What do you call a cold dog? Answer, a chili dog. Yeah, that one's good. Number 3. What do you get when you cross a dog and a calculator? Answer, a friend you can count on. Number 2. What kind of dog does a vampire have? Answer, a bloodhound. Now I reckon that was probably true. And your number 1 dog joke for the day. My neighbor said to me one day, you know, my dog is much tougher than yours. He's a great watchdog. He chases every car down the street as it passes by. Your dog just sits up there on the porch all day long. Well, I turned at him and I said, look, Bobby Lee, you know what? Your dog may be tougher than my dog, but my dog is smarter. Because while your dog's chasing all them cars, he's just sitting up there on the porch, writing down the license plates. Yeah, that's a good dog. Oh, Bobby. Well, those are your dog jokes. I'm glad that we had a little time together this morning, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Remember, be kind to others, be good to yourself, and keep on smiling. In the meantime, this is Billy Potbelly Cunningham saying, over and out.
Well, there you have it, folks. Billy and his top 5 countdown. Thanks, Billy. We now return to the news. In today's science and technology headlines from spacealert.com, This week, Mars is the closest to Earth that it will be for another 15 years. Check out Mars in the Sky by downloading either the Starwalk or Skyview app and have fun identifying objects in the night sky, especially the bright spot that will represent Mars this week. From ScienceDaily.com, some planets may be better for life than Earth. Researchers have identified 24 planets outside of our solar system that may have conditions more suitable for life than our own planet. This raises the possibility that those planets may harbor life. And from the BBC, the volunteer hackers protecting the U.S. election. Beatrice Adabella is trying to hack one of the most commonly used voting machines in the U.S. to look for security vulnerabilities, but not with any criminal intentions. She explains, "Earlier this year, I attended a conference and was shocked to find that you could actually buy voting machines on eBay. So I bought one 2 months ago and have been able to open it up and look at the computer chips inside." Beatrice is actually one of more than 200 people who have signed up to be volunteers of a group of security experts and hackers called the Election Cyber Surge. They are working to find vulnerabilities in voting machines to help ensure that any vulnerabilities are fixed. And those are your science and technology headlines for today. In health news, from WebMD, why a negative test doesn't rule out COVID. Since the recent presidential debate, at least 11 people involved in the event have tested positive for COVID-19, raising questions about how the virus could have run rampant despite precautions. Those precautions had included testing everyone who attended. It's not clear what types of tests were used by the candidates, but the White House has reportedly relied on the Abbott ID Now test. That test is used to screen visitors and the president daily. Rapid tests like ID Now are convenient and they can return results in as little as 15 minutes, but they are not as accurate as other tests which require lab processing and return results in 1 to 2 days. The FDA warned in May that the rapid tests could return false negative results. Studies have found that those tests have somewhere between 14 and 33% false error rates. And from the BBC, India's new paper COVID-19 test could be a game changer. A team of scientists in India have developed an inexpensive paper-based test for coronavirus that could give fast results similar to a pregnancy test. Scientists estimate that the kit would return results in under an hour and cost less than $10. In the U.S. and United Kingdom, several companies and research labs are developing similar paper strip tests which can be cheap and mass-produced. How soon these tests will be available is not yet known. And that is your health news for today. Now, we take another break from the headlines for today's Words of Wisdom. To present this segment is Dr. David Mallory, one of my philosophy professors from college. And here is Dr. Mallory.
Thank you, Mr. Van Sickle. Hello, and welcome to today's Words of Wisdom. We take this time each day because understanding the wisdom that humans have learned over the years can help improve our own lives. And our words of wisdom today come from the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, who wrote, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." This passage reminds us that we can never accomplish anything in life until we take the first step towards achieving our goals. That first step does not need to be large. Remember that even small efforts add up over time. Think about this simple fact. If you spend just 15 minutes a day working on a goal, then after a year you will have spent over 91 hours on that goal. That is an equivalent amount of effort to working full-time, 40 hours a week, over 2 weeks. The more time you spend each day, the more that effort adds up. Think what you could accomplish with a little effort each day done consistently over time. However, like Lao Tzu says, before we can achieve anything, we must take that first step. And those are your words of wisdom for today. Back to you, Jason.
Thank you, Dr. Mallory, for those wise words of wisdom. We now return to our review of today's news. In entertainment news, we start with new movies, and today's movie is 2067, starring Cody Smith-McPhee and Ryan Quantany. When Earth's air becomes unbreathable, a message from the future sends a man on a dangerous mission to an unknown world to save the human race. 2067 is now available for rental on Amazon Prime Video. Moving on, we look at newly released shows, and today's show is The Good Lord Bird. Based on the award-winning novel by author James McBride, The Good Lord Bird is told from the perspective of Henry Little Onion Shackelford, a newly freed teenage slave who joins abolitionist John Brown on a holy crusade to end slavery. Onion encounters Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, and finds himself as part of the famous 1859 raid at Harper's Ferry. The first episode of the series is now available on Amazon Prime Video. And our book for today is The Coast to Coast Murders, which is presently number 2 on the New York Times fiction bestseller list. Michael and Megan Fitzgerald are siblings who share a terrifying past. Both adopted and now grown, Michael is a long-haul truck driver, Megan a college student majoring in psychology, and they trust each other before anyone else. They've had to. Their parents are public intellectuals, an Ivy League clinical psychologist and a renowned psychiatrist, and they brought up their adopted children in a rarefied experimental environment. It sheltered them from the world's harsh realities, but it also forced secrets upon them, secrets they keep at all costs. In Los Angeles, Detective Garrett Dobbs and FBI agent Jessica Gimble have joined forces to work a murder that seems like a dead cinch. Their chief suspect is quickly identified and apprehended, but then there's another killing just like the one they've been investigating. And then another. And not just in Los Angeles. The spree spreads across the country. The Fitzgerald family comes to the investigators' attention, but Dobbs and Gimble are at a loss. If one of the four is involved, which Fitzgerald might it be? From coastal California to upstate New York, Dobbs and Gimble race against time and across state lines to stop an ingenious and deeply deranged killer. The Coast to Coast Murders is now available in print at your local bookstore, and it is also available in print, Kindle, and audiobook formats on Amazon.com. And that concludes our entertainment news for the day. As always, we end our broadcast with a look at what we call Happy News, and here is your Happy News story for the day. From WKBW, Channel 7 in Depew, New York, lending a helping hand to some fantastic friends. Fantastic Friends in Depew, New York is an organization that provides a social outlet for kids with disabilities. It's been a difficult year for the organization. Not only has socialization been limited by COVID, but like many organizations, Fantastic Friends has been struggling financially due to canceled fundraisers. However, when Mallory Wojcinski, one of the kids who is a member of Fantastic Friends, heard that the organization that she loves was struggling, she decided it was time for her to help the people that had shown her so much care and support. Wojcinski began her own fundraiser by making bracelets and selling them for $5 each. It's not easy work, she explains, and sometimes she stays up as late as midnight working on the bracelets. However, in a short period of time, she has been able to raise $150 for Fantastic Friends. She knows that's not a lot of money, but she is willing to work hard and do anything to help the group that has helped her. And that is your news for October 5th, 2020. Have a great day.